All right, welcome. I'm recording our session. Will be available after the fact if folks want to. I'm intending to put this up on the library's YouTube or on my Zotero guide later on. Close this out. Thank you all for coming. I'm really happy to see a good turnout today. I'm going to close my email. There we go. Okay, so if you're here, I assume that you're interested in learning the Zotero citation management software. My name is Jason. This is me. I will share this guide with you. Actually, I'll go ahead and put that in the meeting chat now. This is my Zotero guide. If you want to email me after today's session. Obviously, since we're online, there won't be a ton of hands-on stuff today, but please feel free to get in touch with me at any point if you've got questions or problems setting up or using Zotero. I'll be more than happy to help out with that. So what we're going to cover today, I have us booked for an hour. It often does not take that long to cover what I want to cover. So happy to take questions or comments or anything like that. I'm going to try and keep half an eye on chat, even though I'm manipulating multiple screens here. If you would also, if you care to unmute yourself to ask a question that way, that's totally fine with me. Whatever you care to do is fine. So, but I will try to. Oh, thanks. My colleague Jessica's here. She's going to help me keep an eye on chat. Appreciate that, Jessica. So I like to start by showing a little bit about just like sort of what Zotero can do. Don't worry about the how-to yet. I'm going to hop into a database here. I'm going to do a search, and I'm going to turn that into a bibliography real quick just to show you what Zotero can do. And then I'm going to back up. I'm going to talk about how to download it, how to install it, and then how to do what I just showed you. So in other words, just watch me for a minute. We're going to do a quick search, and I'm going to turn this into a bibliography. So let me think here. Let's say I'm in this library database here. I want to, let's say I'm doing a research paper. I'm going to steal my colleague Joel's favorite sample topic, money and happiness correlation. How about that? Let's try that. I am going to save some sources. Oh, I like this. Buy me that, mommy. Again, don't worry about how this works yet. I'm going to show you that. But I'm downloading these sources. Here's what it looks like in Zotero. I'm going to create bibliography. Let's do, I usually write in APA style, so let's do that. And here's a blank Word document. And here's the bibliography that I just created. So that was definitely less than a minute. I can see a few things that need to be corrected, some capitalization here for one thing, but otherwise this looks like a pretty good bibliography to me. So this is what Zotero can do for you. We're going to talk over the next hour or so about how to set it up, how to do all of this. Excuse me. And so by the end of the hour, you should be able to at least use Zotero to make some basic bibliographies while you're writing. Please do type in any questions during chat, or if you want to unmute yourself, again, that's totally fine. So Zotero is free software. It is, let me paste this URL into chat. This is where you get it. It is open source software. If that phrase means anything to you, basically it just means it's free. Anyone can download it and use it. Does not require a GSU ID or login in order to download, like some of the other software that we support here at the library is licensed to GSU. This is free for anybody. Zotero is what we call a citation manager or a reference manager. You'll hear these terms, and there may be a couple of others you'll hear those used somewhat interchangeably. What that means basically, though, is just an application that you can use um, to download sources as you're doing your research, to organize them, sort of build your own personal library as you're doing your research, so you can go back and find sources again that you've used later. And maybe what's the most interesting part to a lot of us is the fact that it will create these bibliographies for you. So I already have Zotero installed on my computer, but this is where I'd get it from. And just go to zotero.org, and there's this download button. There are two parts that you need to install. So I'm on a Windows computer and I'm on Chrome, so it's showing me the Windows version and it's showing me the Chrome connector. I'll explain what that is. Um, there is a version for Mac OS. There's an iOS version that I've been playing around with on my tablet lately. There will be an Android version soon. It's in early release, and I haven't managed to get my hands on it to try it out yet, but they are coming out with an Android version as well. I'll just be talking about it today on a desktop computer, but I did want to make sure you know that there are versions for various other kinds of devices. And again, it does work just fine on Mac. The Mac version looks a little bit different, of course, because it's a Mac, but it works almost identically. So you'll find what I'm showing you on Windows today, if you're a Mac user, will be very transferable, I guess. So as I mentioned, there are two parts to Zotero that you'll need to install both parts. So right here, this is the main software itself, of course, Zotero 7 for Windows. And all I would do is just click download, save it, and then run the installer. Obviously, like I said, it's already installed on my computer, so I'm not going to do that, but it's just like installing any other application on your computer. There's also what we call a browser connector, and there are versions. I'm on Chrome here. There are versions for Firefox, Microsoft Edge, and Safari as well, so it'll work with all the main browsers. What it does is it adds this little button, and if you can see the top right of my screen where my mouse is moving, I'm going to mouse over the Zotero button. I'll be using that a lot, so you'll get used to what that looks like. But when I mouse over it, you can see it says Save to Zotero. What that does basically is it allows Zotero to, it allows your browser to save references, article citations, book citations, and so on. Allows you to save them from your browser into the Zotero software. It lets the two pieces of the two applications communicate with each other. You'll get the idea very quickly. All I would really need to do, let me uninstall it real quick and reinstall it just so you can see how easy it is. So just click Install Chrome Connector or Firefox or whatever version you're using, of course. Click Add to Chrome, confirm that, and it's going to pop up here. I'm going to right-click it and pin it, which I recommend doing just so it stays visible. And I'm going to unpin these other ones just so my other extensions aren't distracting us. There we go. So the only extension I've got visible up here is my Zotero button. We'll see in just a minute what that does. I'll show you what that does. So give you a little quick tour of the application itself. This is my Zotero library, which is what we call everything that you've got previously got saved to Zotero. You can see I've got a bunch of folders here. Those are called collections. And I've just created one of these for each topic I was researching or project that I was working on or whatever research interest I was working on at the time. I'll show you how to make those. I can always click on my library and it'll show you the very, very long list of sources that I've saved in the 17 or 18 years that I've been working with Zotero. But this is my my collections over here. I've got tags down here, which I'll show you in a few minutes how to add and edit those, but those are just subject tags from each of these items. Thought I saw a did I see a picture of myself? I saw a picture of a head there. Okay, anyway, doesn't matter. Oh, I sure did. Ha, that's funny. Um, Down here, I've got the list of sources that I'm viewing. So if I select a collection, I'm seeing just the sources in that collection. I made a collection called Workshop to play around with today. And if I select one of these sources, it shows me all the details over here, the title, the author, publication info, and so on. Um, Again, this is just a quick look at it. I'm about to show you how to save some sources, and we'll spend a little more time with the details of this. But this is what the software looks like as you're using it. So I've got my search open here. This is my money and happiness search that I did. Basically the way I'm going to use Zotero to save sources is I will just do a search in my database, article database, library article database, or library catalog, or a site like Amazon or Wikipedia or anywhere that I'm looking at sources. And all I'll need to do is just click the button up here to save the source that I want. So let me go to the next page so I'd get some different sources in my library. Here's my next page. Sorry, they've changed the search. Oh, I only have 10 sources. That's why. Let me just do a broader search. Yeah, they've changed the academic search, the EBSCO interface a little bit, so I'm fumbling around a little bit with that. Okay, let's say that I want to save this journal article for my paper that I'm writing. Up here, the Zotero connector, the Zotero save button, you'll hear called different things, will change appearance depending on what I'm looking at. So I just installed it, so it's this little Z. If I click on it once, it will change appearance. Let me refresh the page there because it should be, there we go. It changes appearance depending on what kind of source I'm looking at. So right now it's a little blue book icon, and that indicates that I'm looking at well, it should indicate that I'm looking at a journal article because this says academic journal. Let's see what it saves as. Yeah, it's saved as an article. Just a little glitch there. It's showing me a book instead. But all I did was just click the save icon, and it shows me the title of what it's saving. It shows me, in this case, it attached a PDF to it as well. Sometimes it can do that, sometimes not. But here's what we get. Over here on the right side of my screen, you can see this is a journal article. It saved the article title, the author names, the journal that it was published in, volume, issue, page numbers. That doesn't look right to me. Let's double check that. Occasionally you'll get a mistake like that. It's always worth taking a look and just making sure it's saved correctly. The save icon to the right of the paper, can it be used to save the article as well? Are you talking about here where it says download? Is that what we're asking about? There's also a download button here. What
So
this,
I was
go ahead.
speaking about the first one that have the save icon. So to the far left, the first one that have like the save icon.
Okay,
Before
on this
where you have
screen?
yeah, on the screen where you have the download going across the that one that have the save icon right there to the left.
Oh,
I
here we
think
go.
maybe,
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that'll just save it to a list here in the database. It's not actually going to save it to Zotero. If you want to save it to Zotero, the button up here is going to be the way to do it. This is, yeah, gotcha. Good question. Thank you for catching that. Um, yeah, this just saves this to like a temporary holding space in the database here, which I could save it here, and then I think it's under my EBSCO. I don't want to confuse us too much, but it adds it to a list basically, and but it's just here in the database. It's not saving it to Zotero. Yeah. Um, Actually, while I've got that open though, Let me see if it's got these page numbers. It does say pages 1 through 1, so that's clearly a mistake in the database as far as I can tell. Let me see if I look at the PDF. Oh, actually, I can do better than that. Let me open it up in Zotero because it did save the PDF along with it. You can see in this column here, there's a paperclip that says attachments. Some of these have PDF icons there. That indicates to me that there's a PDF here. And if I double click it, it'll just open it up. Let me zoom it out a little bit. There we go. So this is pages 1 through 12 instead of 1 through 1. But that gives me a good chance to show you this. Anything that I've saved here, I can just click on it and correct it. So that should be pages 1 through 12, it looks like. And when I click off it or press enter, it'll save that change automatically. It saves the abstract from the database. If the database has an abstract, it'll usually save that as well. The attachment here is almost always going to be a PDF. That is, there could be other kinds of attachments. You could attach an audio recording or a yeah, PowerPoint file or anything you want, but it's typically going to be a PDF. It saved these tags, which I mentioned earlier, and these are just the subject headings from the database. So if I go back to the database, should be, yeah, these subject terms, it will just save those as tags. I can add my own tags if I want to. There's a little add button here, and I can just click a tag. And like if I'm saving this for an English class, save it with the name of the class if I want to, anything that I want to tag it with. And these are all going to be searchable, of course. There's this search box up here that's going to be, that's going to search the tags as well as the title and author and so on. So this is all the info that it saves. I can save multiple sources at one time if I want to. Let me go back here and here we go. If I go to show more results, I'm going to save multiple results at one time from this page. Again, it's the same button up here. If I mouse over it, it says Save to Zotero. It has changed appearance to this little folder icon, and that's because I'm on a page that's got multiple results. Close something there. And all I do is just click it, and it shows me every item on this page. So I should have, I think I have 20 items on the page. I can select the ones that I want to save, and I'm going to just check a few. There's also a select all button if I want to save all of them. And I'm going to just click a few and click OK. So you'll see as it saves these, one of them it saved the PDF, some of them it was not able to save the PDF. That could be for a couple of reasons. Sometimes it's just because the database didn't have the PDF, like some of these here where it says access options. Well, maybe there's a PDF available there. Some of them it doesn't give me a PDF option. So sometimes there's just no PDF. Sometimes it's linked to another site and so on. There could be a number of reasons that Zotero would maybe not be able to save the PDF. But I can always add it later. So some of these have the PDF, some of them don't. Just depends on the database, in short. So I just saved several of these things. Let me sort these by title and see if I got any duplicates. I don't think I did. Yeah, looks like I've got all unique ones. And again, I can go in and make any edits that I want. For example, this one's missing the author name for some reason. I could just go to it online. Here's the URL. I could just follow that back to the database and see if there's an author name and just copy and paste that in. Yeah, there just isn't an author listed for this one, and that's why there's no author name. So there may be some missing info here. Basically, it's as good as the database info. So once I've got some items here in my collection or in my database, my Zotero library, I probably want to organize them. And like I said, I've made this collection that's just called Workshop just for today, just because we're in my actual Zotero library, and I don't want to clutter it up with sample searches that I've saved before. But I can create these collections for whatever project that I'm currently working on. So I could make a collection for each class, or a lot of these are for presentations that I've given, that kind of thing. And I can create them just with this button up here. If I mouse over it, it says New Collection. There's also File, New Collection here, does the same thing. And I'll just call it, I can give it any name that I want. I click Create Collection. And in this case, it made it a sub collection because I had the workshop collection selected. And so it made it as a sub collection under that. I can move these around if I don't want that. I can move it up to a different location or whatever. I'll just leave it here. But it's the collection's blank just because I just created it and there's nothing in it yet. There's a couple of ways that I can add items to the collection. One is I can just drag them. So select a reference and just drag it in there. And so I've just dragged those couple of items in there. The other thing is if I have a collection selected and I save a source, it will automatically go into that collection. So it's going into my Money and Happiness collection here. And again, this is just a glitch with the browser connector. I think it's showing the wrong item type there. It's showing a little book cover. Ordinarily, this icon here, this little white icon, is what you see with the journal article, but it's saving it correctly. So that's the only thing that I really care about. And it did save the PDF. I can always go from a collection, I can always go up into my library and see everything that I've ever saved. This is like a collection. It's just like a playlist. I made a collection called Workshop. These are just a subset of everything that I've saved in my library. It's like if I'm saving an album or a song to my Spotify library and I create a playlist, I'm just adding that item to a list. It's still part of my library as a whole. Again, I can find these items again once they're saved, either by using the search box up here, but I can browse the tags down here if I want to. If I want everything that's got the tag money, I can just click that and it will show me everything that's got that tag. I can also, what else can I do? I can sort these just by clicking on one of these column headers here, and it will alphabetize it. If I know the author name and I want to just put it in alphabetical order and skim to it, I can do that as well. And again, there's always a search box, and I can always browse to the individual collection here if I want to. That's really most of what you need to know about saving items to the library. I'm going to show you a couple of other tricks with this, but that's most of what you need to know about saving sources. You can, if you want to, click the new item button up here. If you want to type something in by hand, that's a possibility as well. I rarely need to do this, but I can click new item, and it's got the most common ones up top here. Choose newspaper article, and I can just fill in the blanks here. Again, you'll almost never need to do that. I'm going to delete that blank item. I can, if I've got a book that's got an ISBN number, or if I've got an article that's got a DOI number, there's this little magic wand here, and I can just paste in an ISBN or DOI or another kind of identifying number here, and it will usually download it for me. The other thing that I can do is I can drag, I've got a folder here with just some PDFs in it. I can just drag a PDF into my library. I get this question a lot. People will have a folder of PDFs that they've previously saved, and they want to add it to their Zotero library. So this is going to happen really quickly. So I'll do it a couple of times if I need to. I'm going to just pick one of these PDFs. This is just an article PDF that I downloaded previously. I'm going to just drag it into my Zotero library and let go. And what's going to happen really quickly, okay, that happened so fast that I couldn't even talk through it. This is the article. It's this book review. All I did was drag this PDF in and it downloaded all of this information from the web. So I'll do it again. Here's another article I can just drag in. And that fast, it downloaded all of the information for this article. That will only work if it can read the PDF, but it works pretty well. It will work most of the time if it's a scanned, or rather if it's a PDF that's got actual text in it. If it's just a PDF image that you like put an article onto a scanner, Zotero will probably not be able to read that, but because it's just an image. But yeah, for most PDFs, that'll work just fine. You can drag them in. The other thing I can do is like this article here, you can see I don't have a PDF attachment. I scroll down, there's 0 attachments. What I can do is I can download the article separately. So pretend this is that article and I just downloaded it to a folder on my hard drive. I can just drag it in and drop it on top of the citation, and it will attach it there. And there, it's now got a PDF attachment. Let me pause for breath. Other questions so far? Anything that I've shown you so far? Okay, great. All right. Um, I can see a few things that I want to probably correct in my library, like these all capital titles are kind of jumping out at me. Also, these titles have a period at the end there. I probably don't want that. A few of them have those, but I'm going to leave them be for now, just to show you what happens when I put these into a bibliography, because I can use it to illustrate a point later on. Okay, so I've got some sources in my library here. Let's get on to the writing part of the process. Let me open up a blank Word document here. And there are a couple of different ways that I can take this collection of sources and I can turn them into a bibliography. One way is I can just copy and paste them into a Word document. So if I select a few of these sources and I just click the first one and then shift click the second one, just like selecting files in Windows works the same way. I can also control click individual items there, but I just select the ones that I want, and I'll do this a couple of times to show you some uh, different tweaks to it. Selected the ones I want, right click, and I'm choosing create bibliography from items. I think this is also up here in the edit menu. No, maybe this is just right click. Okay, right click, choose create bibliography. And it'll give me this list of about 15 or so styles. There may be one or two in here that I installed myself, but it will come with most of these out of the box. So it will come with APA, some different versions of Chicago, and MLA. Those are most of the ones that you'll need most of the time. You can get many more styles, though. I'm going to do this one in APA, and I'll show you about getting styles in a sec. So I'm going to choose APA. I'm going to copy it to the clipboard. I'm going to open my Word document and just paste it in. So when I did, at the beginning, I did my quick little 1-minute demo. This is what I did. I just copied and pasted from my Zotero library into this Word document. This is the fastest way to just create a bibliography. I can see a couple things that I might want to fix in here, but actually, no, actually, this one looks pretty good. I thought this was um, I thought that was a, oh, there's an extra space there. That's why it's underlined. Yeah, so I can just delete that, fix that. I would probably want to fix any errors in the Zotero library instead of in the document here, and I'll show you that in a sec as well. But that's honestly, that's the fastest and easiest way to create a bibliography. And again, all I did was right click, and I can right click a whole collection if I want to, or a single item. Anything that I can select in my library, I can right click and choose create bibliography and choose a style. We'll do this one in Chicago. You can also, if you wish, you can save this as a file, or I could print directly from here if I wanted to. I almost always just use this copy and then paste it into Word. And here's what that looks like in Chicago style. Not totally different, but a little bit different. Okay, let me delete that, get a blank document again. Um, yeah, so that, like I said, that's sort of the quick and easy way to create a bibliography. I think it's more useful and probably more interesting to show you this, which is we're going to start writing a paper and create the bibliography as I write it. So when I installed Zotero on my computer, it added this toolbar to my Microsoft Word. No, I don't want to. I am going to mostly use just these first two buttons here. I'll talk through what the other ones do, but almost always the first two buttons, add and edit citation or add and edit bibliography, are what you need almost all the time. How did I select multiple articles? Let me show you that. Yeah, if I just click one and then shift click, that selects a range of them. Or if I click one and then I can control click multiple individual ones, and then I can right click create bibliography from there. Yeah, so it's either shift click if you want a whole range, you just select the first, shift click the last, or I can control click individual ones. Yeah. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do here is a little different though. I am in my Word document. I've gone to my Zotero toolbar in Word, and this is my paper that I'm writing. And let's say I want to cite something in here. Again, almost always, all you'll need are these first two buttons. And before I leave you, I'm going to give you some documentation to have later on if you want to bookmark something that's got instructions for all of these. I'll give you that guide again. So first thing I want to do is I want to cite a source here. We'll pretend that I referenced something from one of my sources. So I'm going to click Add Citation. And the first time, this probably looks familiar, this is that list of sources again. It remembers that the last one I chose was Chicago. Yeah, I'll just leave it at Chicago for now. I have never needed to change anything in the bottom half of this screen. All you should need to do is just select your style. And I'm just telling Zotero this paper is going to be in Chicago style. And then just click OK. And here's what pops up, this red bar. And I think the first time you do this on a computer, it will, here we go, I'm trying to move it around. First time you do this on a computer, it'll pop up a little explanation of what this bar is. Obviously, I've used this on my computer before, but this is a red search bar that lets me search my Zotero library. So if I start typing in a search here, it's searching all of this stuff that I've saved previously. So if I start typing money, it's going to give me everything that matches the term money. So let's say I want to cite this one by Cohn and Bilovich. Just select that, press enter, and it drops it into the paper here where my citation was. I will go through this a couple of times because there's some variations and some tricks to it as well. But basically, once I've got one or more citations in the paper, I can just put the cursor where I want my references to go. Oop. And I'm not sure if that's Chicago style or not to put references. I think that's APA. Anyway, I'll just put the cursor where I want my bibliography to go, click the Add Bibliography button, and it adds it to my paper. So from then on, anytime I cite a source, all I do is click Add Citation. And by the way, these are showing up because I have some sources selected in my Zotero library, so it pre-populates that list there. If I, oops, sorry, too many windows. Okay, let me try that again. If I deselect all of these and then go back to my document, add citation, and I can search for happiness, and let's say I want this one by Brow, press enter, and it drops it into my library. Adrian, hold that thought a sec. So you can see I cited Cone and then I cited Brow. It is putting these in alphabetical order, and it's going to keep this reference list alphabetical as long as that's what the style calls for. Adrian is getting an error when they try to do this. System acts as if it's loading. Okay, I am probably not going to be able to troubleshoot that remotely. Why don't you, if you can drop me an email with the details of what's happening, I'll be more than happy to help you out with that. If I could see your screen in person, I could maybe help out, but drop me an email and we'll investigate that. Okay, terrific. Oh, and let me give you my email address, everybody. There you go. Yeah, just drop me an email with any of these questions after class and I'll be happy to help. Okay, so a couple of other things that I can do here. I noticed that, or I mentioned rather that there are some other buttons on here. Insert note lets me search any of the notes that I've got in my Zotero library. I can copy and paste them into my document. I don't think I've ever used that before, but it's there if you want it. And a note can just be attached to any reference. This one I do use occasionally, document preferences, and all that does is just change the style. So if I want to change this from Chicago to APA, I can do that. Not a huge change, but there's a change here. Refresh will just reread all this info out of the Zotero library. It automatically refreshes every time you add a citation. But what it does is it just checks this citation in my Zotero library. And if I've made any changes in the Zotero library, it updates those changes here. Again, rarely need to use that. And unlinked citations would take all of the Zotero code out of the document. So right now there's some invisible code is the best way I know to describe it in the document, and that's what lets Zotero update these citations. But if I were sending it to a journal for submission or something like that, and they were having trouble with the document, I could just click unlink citations. Again, these are buttons that you will rarely need to use. I am going to go back to document preferences just to show you that while it comes with these 12 or 15 styles out of the box, so to speak, there's also this manage styles link here, and I can get additional styles. This just opens a page on the Zotero website, and it's just zotero.org/styles. There, I just put it in chat. And you can see there are 10,000 plus styles available. So if you need a different style for an article, you would rarely need it for a class paper, but for a journal article or something like that, if you ever needed another style, you can either just browse by subject area here. I'm the anthropology librarian, so let's look at anthropology styles. And then I could install it just by clicking that, and it adds it there. So there are many, many other styles. I don't know how often you might need that, but there are many available. So that's one trick to it. The other thing is, since this is in APA style, I'm not sure about other styles, but APA style will at least sometimes call for a page number. So if I'm citing a quotation, I need to include the page number with the source as well. So what I do is just add citation. Oh, monkeys, money, who knows? And let's do this one by Greenhill. Let's say that I want to cite a quotation from this article by Greenhill. So I'm going to just, before I press enter to put it into the document, I'm going to click inside the red bar here before I put it into the document. And it gives me some additional options here, one of which is a page number. And I can just fill in the page number. Let's pretend it's page 55. And then I just press enter again, and it will add the page number as well. I can go back and add page numbers if I want to, just by clicking one of these citations. Click the add and edit citation button as well. It's not just the add button, it's also the edit button. And then I'll just click and pretend this is page 44. I think that this Acnine article, I think it says open documents here. And I think that must be because I have it open. Yep, it's because I have it open in my Zotero library. That's a new feature, actually. I had not, or at least I hadn't noticed it before. It's assuming that because I have this document open in Zotero that I might want to be quoting from it, that's kind of nice. I hadn't noticed that before. That is most, I think, of what you probably want to know about adding citations to a document. Oh, a couple of things I do want to show you. So let's say, I mentioned this earlier and I was going to come back to it. So if I'm citing one of these sources, here we go. I want one of these that has the all caps title here. Look at what happens to it in my bibliography. Because it's all caps in my Zotero library, Dolliver, here we go. It's all caps here in my Zotero library, so it's all caps in my bibliography. Now, I don't want that, obviously. If I just type over it, let me just type over this one word just to show you what happens. So I typed over the word happiness there to correct that. If I refresh it or if I add another source, it's going to undo that change. Happiness is capitalized again. Remember when I said if you hit the refresh button or if you add another citation, it rereads the citation info from the Zotero library. So it's going to undo any changes. If I just make a change in the document here, it's going to overwrite that with what's in the Zotero library. So what I would want to do is actually correct it in the Zotero library. I can type over it. I'll probably go ahead and delete that period as well. I can type over it if I want to, but if I've got several of these here, I don't want to type over each one. There's a trick here. If I right click on the title in my Zotero library, there is a choice for title case, which means it capitalizes each word, or sentence case, which is probably what I want more often, because this way it'll lowercase all of these. APA style wants most of the title to be in lowercase. It just wants the first word or any proper nouns capitalized. So I can right click, choose sentence case. I need to fix this TV, and so on. You get the idea. So I can right click and sentence case, and I'm going to delete that. I think it works for, yeah, here we go, for author names as well. It just says fix case. There we go. Nice. I don't see any more capitalized authors. That's another one, another new feature to me. They keep adding stuff all the time. So anyway, you get the idea. And then when I go back to my document, too many windows open. Here's the capitalized title. If I refresh it, or if I were to add another citation, it fixed it. So now it's fixed forever because I fixed it in the Zotero library. I think this is all pretty much correct. That needs to be fixed there, that capital H for happiness, and there's an extra space in there. What I usually tell people, spacing and capitalization and spacing and punctuation are the things to double check. Spacing is not usually a problem, but here this should be, I'm getting very nitpicky. I'm getting very nitpicky. This should look like that. But in order to fix that permanently, I would need to fix it in my Zotero library as well. So you get the idea, I think. Other questions so far? We've got about 10 minutes left in our hour. I've got a few more things I want to show you. And then any time that we've got left, I'm happy to stick around for any other questions. So um, let's close. Well, let me just minimize this. Um, so if I have installed Zotero on a new computer, everything that I start saving to that computer is just going to be saved to the hard drive of that particular computer. Zotero does have cloud storage features, and I strongly recommend that you take advantage of this. What I would do is go to zotero.org, and let me log out just so I can show you how you do this. I'm on the Zotero website here. If I click login and then register for an account, I can sign up for a free account here. I really recommend that you do it. It will give you a backup, online backup of your library, and that has saved me before. I've had hard drives die on me while I was, or computers die on me while I was writing a paper, that sort of thing. So I really recommend that you sign up for an account here. It does not cost anything. You just choose a username, put in your email, choose a password, tell it you're not a robot, and when you click register, you will get a verification email. And when you click that, that will set up your account. So you create your account on the website, you go into the Zotero settings, and under sync, I will give you some instructions for doing this so you don't have to remember where this thing is buried, but it's in settings, edit, settings, and it's under sync. Ordinarily, there would be a blank space here for me to put my username and password, and it looks like, yeah, I've got it here. No, I don't have a blank version of it. I've just got it filled in. Anyway, but you just fill in your username and password there. And you can pretty much safely leave these settings as they are unless you want to change them for some reason. The default settings work just fine. Once you have done that, there's this button up here at the top right. You can see the little arrows spinning where my cursor is when I click it to force it to synchronize. What that's doing is it's uploading any changes that I made on this computer to the cloud. It's downloading any changes from the cloud that happened on a different computer. So I've got, obviously I'm working on my work computer right now. I've got a laptop at home, of course, and I've got my Zotero library synchronized between the two by putting that login info into the sync settings here. So my account name is Jason Puckett, you can see. So anything that I've got linked, any computer where I have that set up on Zotero, it's automatically going to make any changes. And I'm clicking this button just to make it spin so you can see where it is, but it will do that automatically from time to time. If I make changes to a reference from time to time, this is going, there it goes, it just did it again without me clicking at that time. If I make any changes, it will synchronize periodically. Let's see if I can make it happen. There it goes. Anyway, so I'm belaboring that point a little too much, but so anyway, this is like it's like Dropbox. You create your account on the website, you put your account information into the app, and it will just automatically keep you synchronized from then on. That is worth it for nothing else, just for the cloud storage. Um, but it will let you do some other things like synchronizing multiple computers. It will also let you create what are called group libraries, and I've got some of these down here that I have joined or that I have created this one called practice group here that doesn't have any sources in it. Let's use that to play around with. These are separate libraries. So I've got my personal library that's just under my library, and I've got down here, these are separate libraries as well. You can see this is one that I created as well. If I want to add something to a group library, I can just select it and drag it in, and that makes a new copy of it here. The other thing I can do is I can be in a group library and just save a source. Well, I thought so anyway. Maybe it's because so I'm going to browse. Here we go, call it practice group. Yeah, there we go. I don't know why that wasn't saving previously. It should save just fine. Um, Yeah, so what I've got here is a group library, and by that I mean it can be shared among multiple people. So if my colleague Jessica, who's here with us, if she and I are writing an article together, we can create a group library. We can make it private if we want, just for the two of us. If we want to make it available for the public to look at, we can do that. If we want to make it available for anybody to join and contribute to, we can do that as well. All of the settings are on the Zotero website. So let me log into my account and you'll see my group libraries, groups. Yeah, so these are the libraries that I have created or that I'm a member of, and I can change the settings. This one is set to private. I can make it public or private. I can change who can edit the library, who can make changes to it, and so on. You get 300 megs of cloud storage for free from Zotero. I'm not going to go into that setting right now because it shows my credit card because I pay for more storage. The 300 megs free counts, PDFs count against it, attachments count against that. You can have as many citations as you want, but the size of the PDFs will count against that 300 megs free. And group libraries, whoever's the owner of a group library, the storage for that library counts against their 300 megs. You can pay for more storage if you want to. I went for a long time without paying for storage, and I'm paying 20 bucks a year now for I want to say it's 2 gigabytes of storage, and I'm nowhere close to filling that up. So it's inexpensive if you do find that you need more storage. Yeah. And we have 5 minutes left. Are there questions about anything that I've showed you that you would like me to go back over, or questions about anything that I didn't show you that you are curious about or were maybe expecting? While you consider that question, I'm going to give you my guide page. This again has my contact info on it. It's got instructions for installing, for saving citations, making bibliographies, and so on. Here's how to synchronize your library, create group libraries, and so on. There's a web-based tool called Zotero Bib that's just useful for sort of quick and dirty bibliographies if you're on a computer that you can't install software on, and so on. So there are a lot of tips and tricks here on my guide as well. The Zotero homepage is zotero.org. That's in the chat as well. Julia asks, how long does it take to get familiar with it? I think you can pick up the basics very quickly. The other software that we have, that we support here at the library, like this, the other citation manager software that we support is called EndNote. I think Zotero is easier and faster to pick up than EndNote is. Um, you can get familiar with the basics very quickly. I would recommend getting in maybe while it's fresh in your mind. Just try saving some citations for practice, create a bibliography for practice. Email me with any questions that you've got. But as far as the basics of just saving sources and putting them into a bibliography, I think you can pick that up very quickly. At least that's been my experience. If you have questions or problems, of course, email me and I'll be glad to help how I can. Yeah. Are there other questions for me? What do you do? What do you do if you add an article to Zotero, but it shows up as a totally different article? That has never happened to me. Has that happened to you, Tanya? I've got to say that would be a new one on me. Send,
Yes. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can. Yeah. So can you tell me
Yes, I
what?
have one article. It's just one article. It keeps
Yeah,
showing up as a totally different article, different author, different
you
and I've tried
save.
it a couple of times. It
Okay.
still does the same thing.
That's super weird. I've never encountered that before. Did you save it from a database?
From a database. I do have the PDF. I tried adding it as a PDF, but whenever it pops up as in my library, it's a totally different article. It's
Okay.
the same article, but it's not
Okay.
the same. Yeah.
Um, to answer your direct question, which is what do you do? I would go to a different database and save it from there instead, is
Mm,
probably the fastest fix. Why is it doing that? I don't know. I would be curious to see if it happens on my computer. Do you mind emailing me that citation? Because I would, and let
sure.
me know where,
Yeah.
yeah, email that to me just because I'm
Yep.
curious. That's a new one on me. But what I would actually do is just go to Google Scholar, go to a different database and save it from there and see if it
Yeah, I'll
works
try
from
that.
there. There is clearly something up with what we call the metadata on that page. There's something strange about the
Hmm.
metadata on the database page that you're saving it from. I
Yeah.
would guess that that's a database glitch of some kind, but that's just a guess. Yeah, you
It's
congratulations.
strange.
You've stumped me. Yeah, but I'll look for that email and let you know what it does on mine. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, great question. We're almost out of time. Other questions for me? I can hang around for a few minutes if people have more questions. Otherwise, I will save this workshop recording. I will probably put it up on my Zotero guide. I try to keep that the video on my Zotero guide. I try to keep that as the most current or most recent workshop. So I'll be posting that in the next couple of days or so probably, and it will go to the library's YouTube channel. Thank you all so much for coming. I'm glad to hear it was useful. If you, those couple of you who had questions that I couldn't answer on the spot, email me and I'll be glad to help as best I can. Okay. Thank you all. I'm so glad you joined us today. I'm going to stop the recording and thanks again for coming. Have a good one.